Hello, John.
Oh, Oliver.
So today we're going to talk about Elijah Burke. So yesterday, October the 2nd, a University of Galway event featuring presidential candidate Catherine Connolly came to a standstill when Elijah Burke, brother of Enoch Burke, interrupted proceedings in front of an audience of 500 students. He demanded answers about his brother's imprisonment, freedom of belief, and the treatment of religion in Ireland. What followed was a tense standoff with Connolly under pressure, students shouting Elijah down, and Gardaí eventually escorting him from the venue. In this video, we're breaking down what exactly happened, why it matters, and the wider significance of this to the presidential campaign of Catherine Connolly. Over to you,
Right.
John.
Yeah. Did you want to say a bit more, Oliver?
No, I'm just asking for your
Yeah.
opinion. How do you feel this should have went?
Right. Yeah. Elijah, the brother of Enoch Burke, that has suffered grievously at the hands of the state. Um, just to say what he has suffered and what his brother is trying to highlight. His brother has been jailed, has been pilloried and fined a fantastic amount of money. Whatever his savings he had has been taken out of the bank, and it's just talk about persecution. It is the worst example of a state. It's nearly worse than any country that one can imagine. It might occur in a communist country, but the treatment of Enoch Buck is deplorable on any level. Now, his brother raised a question before, like there was a period for questions and answers, but he raised it as quick as he could, and the students, the university students, um, showed the stupidity that they suffered from. Instead of listening to him, they started jeering, the cheek of them. And Catherine Connolly, this presidential candidate, is married with two children. She was a Catholic, and now she's not a practicing Catholic. And she was a clinical psychologist or psychoanalyst in Ballinasloe, which was there was a hospital there for people that were quite disturbed, and so that's where she was. So being of that, having that qualification, also a barrister. So she's well qualified and maybe too qualified because with her experience as a judge, she could have calmed the situation with the students and realised that he was raising a question about that and deal with it. But she took a vow of silence. She didn't open her mouth. And by her actions, she has destroyed whatever chance she had of the president becoming a president. Because Elijah Burke was raising a very fundamental question about does the state respect religion and the practice of religion from the point of view of standing up for what's truth. And the truth is that you're born male or female, and no country that's worth its salt should start treating people at a young age if they think that there's something other than a man or a woman or a boy or a girl. And in the United States, President Trump has made it that children will be treated for psychological problems. They will not be allowed to be think what they like, and
Okay, so we're,
so
we're just
that is working. And but I'm talking about what a state does and doesn't do. This state recognizes gender at a young age and treated nearly in the school from a young age. So, like, the state is complicit in confusing children about their identity, being male or female. Now, that's wrong, first of all. But the thing about Elijah Burke, he asked a legitimate question before the period of questions and answers, which was going to take place later. He raised it out of that situation. But the students, the way they jeered and all the rest of it, it reflects on them. Elijah Burke had a right to be answered by this psychologist, this clinical psychologist that would know or should know about the ill treatment of Enoch Burke and his brother trying to stand up for him. That's a good brother. And the father likewise tried to stand up to him when Simon Harris, there was a Taoiseach at the time in Castlebar, where that family is from. And he didn't answer either to him. He just ran into some sort of another place. And, so they're being very ill treated by the state, I regret to say, and ill treated by the students at that meeting. And this presidential candidate, Catherine Connolly, didn't do herself any good. That's the upshot of it. And it has left a very sour taste in many people's mind because a lot of people, the majority of people, support in this country the Enoch Buck and the way he's been ill treated, and it might go further now than what might it'll have repercussions.
Yeah, I think, look, as a clinical psychologist, what she should have done here was she should have said, okay, a man stood up, he was brave enough to stand up in front of 500 people and cause a bit of an interruption. Okay, so but then you got the 500, and it appears they're booing him or not booing him, but they're not on his side. It appears, okay, and they're jeering and the whole lot. So as a clinical psychologist, she should have kind of stepped in there and de-escalate the tension and respond with a bit of empathy. I think if she addressed Elijah, she would have shown that she can represent all citizens, even those she disagrees with, you know?
Well, yes, but the fact of the matter is that she should have, with the experience and the qualification that she has as a psychologist, clinical or otherwise, and that's higher. That's the highest one you can get, and they're very well met. Their qualifications should enable them to be able to deal with all situations, especially this chap that was talking about his brother. Now, that would have done her a power of good if she had answered and
Yes.
dealt with it, but not in a kind of a, what would I call it, a way that's neither this nor that or the other. I just agree with the legitimate complaint that he had about his brother
Yeah,
and
look,
hope that whatever influence she might have to resolve it, she would use her influence. I mean, there's a way of dealing with situations that most rational people, including myself, would deal with somebody that has a legitimate complaint.
I think so.
And
Look,
I would
and
deal with it.
there was 500 students there, and they were looking for composure. I mean, if she just gave a brief, balanced response, and showed that she's upholding free speech, she would have shown a bit of empathy and projected a bit of statesmanship in front of what's now a national audience. And the other day she made a boo-boo, when she was talking about neutrality. What she should have said really there was, that there are certain things maybe that we should be looking at in our military budget, and one of them is that we protect our cables, our undersea cables around Ireland, which apparently Russia are circling all the time. Something like that would have been very educated to say, and it's an obvious one. You protect your cables. Don't forget, it was an Irishman that invented the submarine. She could have drew all those things into it, and made it larger than life. But she's making these mistakes as she goes along. So I don't think she will be the president of Ireland.
Well, what you say, the unfortunate is there are three political people, and it's about nearly it reflects on the government here that there's no independent candidates, which makes it balanced in a democratic society. It's nearly like a totalitarian regime, with the point at the fact that they have three political sort of people going for the presidency, and it doesn't inspire confidence. A lot of people that have spoken about it in the media, very respectable people, have indicated that it's not good. It's not democratic to have just three political appointees, and maybe eventually they might only have one. so you'll have no choice at all.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what states do that are not thinking about the good of the overall people. And we should have had about three independent candidates as well. So they should have a good mix. And I'm sure if Mary Steen had been holding a meeting and one of these, I think she would have dealt with it in the way that she would have. And she's a barrister as well. But I think she'd have more empathy with 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 the plight that they're in. That would be my opinion. But I mean, if I was going for the president election and somebody like that asked me a question, like a brother being, I would deal with it. I wouldn't be taking a bow of silence. I'd deal with it. The state has treated that family very poorly, to my way of thinking, and they'd want to sort of wake up from wherever they're suffering from because it's not doing them a bit of blowing bit of good in the international stage or anywhere. In my way of thinking, it's a disgrace to treat the Burke family in that way. They've tried to they've tried to raise the issue of their son Enoch and the terrible treatment meted out to him when he's only been practicing his well, what is correct. Like you don't you shouldn't be expected to treat a young person as something other than a boy that they are actually born that way.
Hmm.
So we can't just have a society that's so confused. I think some of them now, when they're asked a straight question, if they have daughters on the left hand side, they're not able to answer whether it's a boy or a girl, or even about themselves.
Uh,
It's kind of like
yes,
crazy.
I know.
That's the way that situation goes once you sort of disregard truth, fundamental truth.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you very much, Oliver.